from WBBZ-TV Sports. It's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
Are you feeling lucky? Well, are you? Well, we certainly are, because we're going to spend the next month here at Lucky Lanes in Fredonia. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Beat the Champ. This is always one of our favorite places to come. We always have great bowling here, and in Sue, it looks like that's going to happen again. We've got a terrific lineup of bowlers led by our returning champion, Jayson Schubbe.
Right, and Jayson Schubbe, who came off of a great match at Transit Lanes. He had 10 strikes, 240, good big win over Mike Zarcone. Has his job done, ready for him over here, because we've got high scores, 801, 803. The people that he's bowling against love this place and think this place is the highest scoring place they've ever seen.
Speaking of the people that he's bowling against, we are covered from A to ZZ. Andy Redick to Mike Zarcone and Matt Zazowski and a whole bunch of other notable names here on Beat the Champ.
That's right, and we're going to have to watch the lefty-righty thing, because the top two qualifying scores, 803, 801, were both left-handers.
All right, two of your favorite guys, Mike Zarcone and Matt Zazowski. You ready to handle those two?
Oh yeah, we see them all the time, and we never know what they're going to bring.
Yeah, that is true. That's what makes it fun. So here we go. It's a month-long stay in Fredonia at Lucky Lane, so let's get rolling.
I'm here with Jayson Schubbe, our returning champion, who had to come up the throughway and bowl against all of these people who seem to be so familiar with this bowling center. You're bowling against people who have made the show here every single year. What's your strategy?
My strategy is to not make mistakes. So I want to bowl 10 good frames, keep it clean, try to throw a lot of strikes, and it seems to be a lot of carry issues right now, at least on the practice pair. So we'll see how that's going on the TV pair.
And a possibility of a rematch with the guy you beat last time, right?
Yeah, if I get through the first match, but I can't think about that right now.
No, you can't. You got to get through the first match. But I know you know how to throw a lot of strikes, because you had, I believe, 10 strikes the last time you bowled.
Yes, I did. Got to get rid of the opens, though.
That's right. That's right. Well, good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. I'm here on Beat the Champ with Brad Bixby, our hometown favorite. We have seen you every year the show has been here. How are you so successful in this bowling center all the time?
Straight up works to my game, try and carry the 10 pins. It's been working down here lately.
I know, but it's no easy feat to make this show all the time, and yet somehow, is it just a comfort level for this place?
No, I got an idea how to adjust, and that seems to help a little bit.
Okay, so you are, I believe, are 1 win, 2 losses, looking to even that score and even go a little further, right?
Yes, that would be nice. Win a couple matches today, see what happens, and then have a little advantage going to doubles too, hopefully.
Okay, doubles as well, for you as well?
Yes, yes.
Okay, well, this is going to be a familiar show for everyone. This is going to be a great month here, and good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
And it's match number 1 featuring our returning champion, Jayson Schubbe, against Mr. Fredonia, Brad Bixby, our number 1 qualifier. The only times he's been on the show have been here at Lucky Lanes. Paul Nosek is the owner here at Lucky Lanes. What are you doing to get? What are you doing with Brad here? Are you locking him down on exit 57 or exit 51, whatever 59? Yep. Thank you. Are you locking him down, not letting him go anywhere else to bowl?
No, Brad grew up bowling here, so he's very familiar with the center.
So here we go. It's first match from here at Lucky Lanes, and Brad Bixby off to a great start and to try to knock off our defending champion, Jayson Schubbe. He returns after beating Mike Zarcone to win the final match at Transit Lanes 2 weeks ago. This is Jayson's 4th appearance here on Beat the Champ, 1 win and 2 losses.
Well, it's always an interesting situation, because whenever we change locations, it's a bit of a disadvantage to the champion, because where they excelled is not where they're continuing on, and the people that have come on to compete against them are the ones that have excelled in this bowling center. So, you know, it does up the challenge level a bit for the returning champion.
And and Jayson was telling you he hasn't bowled here very much, if at all, right?
No, and on top of it, you know, just from talking through the interviews, he struggled in practice. So his perception of this place is only what he's seen in practice with the balls he chose to bring, where the people he's competing against, their perception is that this is great high-scoring condition. They had a lot of success, and
With the qualifiers and semifinals and all that.
right. So they've seen how the place breaks down, how it changes.
Well, it's an interesting contrast, Paul, because you've got a guy in Jayson who's a good bowler but doesn't have much experience here and probably doesn't know the nuances against a guy like Brad who dominates here.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, all kidding aside, he's never been on the show anywhere other than here,
Right.
and he was the #1 qualifier, which means he knows this place better than anybody.
Yes, he does very well here. Like I said, he grew up bowling here. He bowled high school bowling here and junior bowling as a younger guy, and does very well here.
32 years old from right here in Fredonia. Brad Bixby. 2 strikes and 2 frames, full-time occupation as a New York State corrections officer. Cumulative average of 227 for Brad, and got a good contingent of his dad, his brother, and a bunch of friends cheering him on here at his hometown bowling center. And there you see the numbers on Brad.
We'd have to see what Brad could do if he would drive down the thruway and try one of these other houses, because you know, he's 100% making the show when he
Or
competes.
he just stays wearing the crown as the king of lucky lanes. The luckiest of the lucky laners. This is Brad's 3rd appearance on the show. Again, all of them are here. An unlucky break there. 1 win and 2 losses. The last time we saw him was a year ago in 2017, exactly the same time of the year when he was, I don't remember if he was the #1 qualifier, but he was pretty high on the list.
Yeah, he was up there, yes.
Good solid bowler. One of the things that I noticed in practice is their break points where they're going to on the lane is exactly the same, even though their approach to it is a bit different.
Yep.
Jason's a little deeper. He's opening the lane up a lot more, which I could say might leave him open to a few 10 pins. He's covering a lot of boards,
Right,
getting the ball back.
exactly.
I mean, he is getting to about the 5, 6, 7 board area down the lane.
Whereas Brad's a little more traditional area.
Right, Brad's about 7 boards, standing about 7 boards right of him, getting the ball to the same spot, but covering less area in the back, trying to get it to recover. But so far, it's worked well for him. Oh, there's that 10 pin.
So that's back-to-back 10 pins that have hung up for both guys here. You saw the numbers on Jayson, 217 average for Jayson. He's been bowling since about 4 or 5 years old. At Beat the Champ TV, and of course like us on the Facebook page for all the latest updates. Great pictures from qualifying here at Lucky Lanes in Fredonia, and of course all the details about the top qualifiers and a couple of great performances in qualifying that we'll talk about as we move on. A couple of 300 games, a couple of 800 series. This feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV. Winner of this match goes on to take on Mike Zarcone in match number 2 from here at Lucky Lanes in Fredonia. But still some work to do for both guys before we get there. And another nice one. Jayson
That's a big shot
Schubbe's
right
4th consecutive strike. 6 career 300 games and a high 823 series for Jayson Schubbe. And again, this is his 4th appearance on Beat the Champ, but I feel like about all 4 of those have been in about the last 3 or 4 months. I feel like he's been almost a regular over the last early part of 2018, late 2017.
Well, that's good. We like to we like to see new faces and have them stick around for a little bit. So
Welcome them to the family.
that's right.
That's right.
Every year is a new opportunity to be the household name of Beat the Champ for the year.
No question.
Just didn't get enough pin action to go knock that 10 pin down.
It's a 21 pin lead here for Jayson, but there's the critical 9th and 10th frame where anything can happen. So it's going to be imperative that Brad comes up and
Brad comes up and catches a couple strikes and get right back in it.
Starting to wind down league play and everything here, Paul. Give us a sense on how the year has been for you and what the highlights of another fun-filled winter of league play here has been in Fredonia.
Well, it's been a pretty solid year here. I've had great support from my customers as always. We had just finished our junior program up, and that went real well. My big project this year was I expanded my game room to almost double its size, so that was my big addition this past year, and that's gone over well. And
What's the hot game these days? What's the hot new game that everybody wants to play?
It's funny you say what's the hot one.
It's not Pac-Man anymore, right? I have to date
No.
myself.
It's all redemption games where you win the tickets. That's what everybody likes now. That's a great shot.
Great shot. Ball change.
Right when he needed it, too.
Yep, ball change there, which is always a gutsy move with 3 frames left.
Absolutely. It's hard to fish that late in the game.
Yep.
Start wondering what you're doing.
But he
So
saw
what do you
that.
think he did? What kind of ball change
Oh,
do
he
you
was just
think it
looking for the
was?
ball to go further down the lane because that one was bouncing off the dry a little too sharply for him, and 2 4-pins told him that he has to change something. So, good choice there. A little straighter up with a ball that goes a little further down the lane.
5 career 300 games, 4 800 series with a high of 835 in the 28-year bowling career of Brad Bixby. He was yelling at that one down the lane, wasn't he?
Just what he needed.
I mean, he moved everything right, and
It almost looked like it was too far, right? Like it wasn't going to cut
no,
back
he's
enough.
moved over there, so that's what he's looking for. Still, break point you're going to find is probably the same, right around 5 down the lane.
But just where they're going to get to that point makes such a difference.
So after 2 consecutive spares in 6 and 7, Brad comes back with big strikes in 8 and 9 to put the pressure back on Jayson Schubbe as he starts the roll here in frame number 9.
Right, so with that double, he has cut the lead to 11 already, and it's up to Jayson to throw them all.
And
If he
he
strikes
answered
out here,
that.
he will shut him out.
Perfect shot, right in the pocket where he needed it to be. Kind of, he saw those pins fly up in the air and everything come down.
Again, that's what I really love about this show is, these are guys who don't necessarily bowl for a living. They have full-time jobs, and yet they come out here and they're so competitive that when it comes down to having to make shots, they make these great shots, which is a marvel to me because it's not what they do all the time, you know?
But they do understand the game very well.
Yep.
10th frame now for Jayson, a chance to clinch the win and move on for a rematch against Mike Zarcone.
There you go.
That one didn't quite have the power that the previous one did, but it got the job done.
No, it's created a swisher strike, which is a high percentage carry strike there, so.
I want to remind everybody that the top qualifier every month when we hit a new bowling center here on Beat the Champ wins a $500 value television from our friends at Dirt Cheap TV. Tony Dolan was the winner here at Fredonia's Lucky Lanes as the top qualifier heading into the roll-off. So every month when we move this show around, you've got the chance to walk out of here with a brand new television.
Big shot here for Jayson.
Oh, that was big.
Another swisher.
But like you said, high carry.
And that is going to be enough to shut Brad out.
So a good performance here by Jayson Schubbe. 2 strikes, spare, 4 strikes, spare, 3 strikes, looking for maybe one more here to finish out a second consecutive win. Going in a second consecutive win about 50 miles apart, right?
In 5 weeks, but
right. 5 weeks apart. About 8 exits down the throughway, between the 2 of them. There you go.
Beautiful
What a way
job.
to finish
Beautiful
for
job.
Jayson. Excellent performance by Jayson Schubbe to put the 258 on the board. So Jayson Schubbe moves on. We'll get you ready for match number 2, Shooby versus Zarcone, when we return to Lucky Lanes in Fredonia. You're watching Beat the Champ. 258 to 224, the final score of our match as Jayson Schubbe knocks off Brad Bixby. Paul said it, he said it and it kind of made me laugh. There's no such thing as defense in bowling, and I feel like that kind of, you bowled really well, but the other guy kept knocking him down.
Yeah, I mean, It's true. You know, you shoot 258, there ain't much you can do against it.
Right, and you bowled really well yourself. Are we going to get you out of Fredonia to come bowl on a Beat the Champ show somewhere other than here?
I've tried, you know, just ain't made the cut, so, you know, we get out that way.
All right, well, you still hold the crown as the king of lucky lanes here in Fredonia, and we're not going to take that from you. He's got no response for that. You got to, instead of a crown, give him something else to feel.
Congratulations on making it, and here's a little something for your efforts.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Hey,
man.
Brad, good show.
Thanks.
Always good to see you once every year here in Fredonia. So, Brad Bixby with a good performance. Match number 2, Zarcone and Shooby coming up next on Beat the Champ.
I'm here on Beat the Champ with a familiar face, Mike Sarcone. I just spoke to your doubles partner. So,
Yes, he is.
so you have both made the show as singles, and then you chose to bowl as doubles. How did that tournament go?
It went well. I really like this this bowling center. It's really fun to bowl here.
So you've made every year that it's been here, you've made the show, correct?
That's correct.
And you don't bowl league here, so this is still relatively not something you consider your familiar home house or anything.
No, it's not, but it's they're conducive to high scores, so it's a fun place to bowl.
Okay, well, welcome back, and good luck today.
Thank you.
Match number 2 is a rematch of a match a couple of weeks ago up at Transit Lanes. Mike Zarcone and Jayson Schubbe. It was Jayson that beat Mike to end a 2-match winning streak at Transit Lanes, and that's what allowed Jayson to come here and be our number 1 returning champ here at Lucky Lanes. So Mike's got a little chance at revenge, and trust me, he is well aware of that as well too.
Absolutely.
Nothing gets by Mike, particularly when he has a chance to exact a little revenge.
Well, there's some strategy going on here because Jayson has elected to let Mike start. So that means, you know, Jason's had the advantage of being on these lanes, and so he's obviously made a decision of what lane he wants to be finishing on and the strategy he wants to use. So that's always something, you know, we like to see how it plays out.
Oh, left.
And a late fall on that pin gives Jayson a strike in the first frame. Lucky, never hurts, right?
So his first strategy is to try to psych Mike out by going Brooklyn on the first shot.
I can hit him anywhere I hit him going down.
And they say there's no defense in bowling.
Well, right, you're right. You did say that. Maybe that's not necessarily true. So Jayson off to a good start, and remember we talked about it already. The match that he beat Mike in was somewhat unusual, 2 opens and 10 strikes in the match. So
And then you use that strike to make a double.
Yeah, I was gonna say took full advantage of
Right.
that. Which you have to. I mean, we all throw Brooklyns now and then.
Well, the object is to knock 10 pins down,
That's
right?
right.
So the
Right.
argument there is you.
they don't ask how, they ask how many, right?
Just like golf.
Yep, that's
Yep.
it. All right, so Mike Zarcone, of course, one of the great bowlers, not only on this show, but in Buffalo. Oh, look at that. How about that for a little slide over to grab the strike and a little raise of the arm from Mike Zarcone.
Well, I
Got a little
don't.
lucky
I
there.
don't need to tell anyone who's ever competitively thrown a bowling ball how disrupting and upsetting it is to have someone Brooklyn strike on you and then you come up and stone a 9-pin. I mean,
Yeah,
it is
that's
the
tough.
Is that the correct terminology there?
stone a 9-pin.
Stone 8 and 9. You can
Yeah,
get those all day.
8s and 9s are definitely taps. So
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
I don't know that I've ever seen a pin lean that far over and not fall.
well, both the 4-pin and the 9-pin are results of a high breaking ball coming in behind the head pin.
which you're going to have with a much
With the way
just
Mike
covering
throws
the
it,
ball,
right.
So we've had a little bit of everything here in the first 3 frames, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's been entertaining. If it shows us 4 strikes and a spare, but it's been by far more entertaining than that.
You didn't see 4-9 leaves way back when because the equipment doesn't allow you to create that kind of angle. Back in the 70s, you just didn't see 4-9s at all. Now they're common.
So Jayson Schubbe with strikes in the first 2 frames, moves on to frame number 3, 35 years old, a full-time IT professional at ECMC up in Buffalo. He's got his dad Jack and his mom Marianne here cheering him on at Lucky Lane. And another strike for Jayson Schubbe.
Yep, and his dad Jack is a well-known name to the older generation, probably my generation, of bowlers. Jack was a big name in bowling in his own right.
Just another example of the legacy, the family legacies that are in this sport, which is always great and always fun. And I'm sure you could rattle off a whole bunch of names of families that are on their 3rd or 4th generation here at Lucky Lanes.
Absolutely.
Focus from Jayson Schubbe for frame 4. Yeah, couldn't get it over enough to knock the 10 pin down, so it's the first non-strike here of the match for Jayson Schubbe.
Not a bad shot by any stretch, just
didn't get the 10 out.
Just rung around it.
Here's Janelle Sabin and the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard, getting you up to date on the early results of this match. So Jayson, who has evened his Beat the Champ record at 2 wins and 2 losses, will look to grab the spare here in frame 4, and he's got it. So now back over to Mike, who is making his 22nd appearance here on the show. A few more appearances, we're going to have to rename this Beat the Champ with Mike Zarcone.
That's almost a full year he's working on.
19 wins, 15 losses is the overall record. He is the leader amongst all of our Beat the Champ bowlers in number of appearances and number of wins. Ooh, what happened there?
Got a little wide on that, I think.
Yep, got a little wide, and it's covering a lot of area. And he made a move, obviously, off that 4 and that 9, and got a bad result. I mean, whenever you make an adjustment and change your angle, you're going to have a little bit of a mystery that you hope is not this.
Wow.
About that spare.
That was impressive. That is not an easy spare to make.
That is not an easy spare to make. That is so true.
Boy, sometimes Mike is so good it doesn't matter what you throw at him or what he throws at himself. It just helps him raise the elevation to pull off an amazing spare pickup like that one.
That is
You
amazing.
don't see those made very often.
So Mike is just keeping pace here with Jayson Schubbe after a terrific spare pickup in frame number 4. And that's a little more typical of what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, that was a great shot.
We're going to be back with more Beat the Champ bowling action in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
He's got to throw. He's got to throw this ball really, really well. He's in a position where it's not opening him up a whole heck of a lot of room.
So there you get an update on the scoreboard, the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard. Don't forget, top qualifier every month here on Beat the Champ wins a television valued at $500 from our friends at Dirt Cheap TV.
Oh,
and how about that? The slow roll for the final knockdown and a strike for Mike Zarcone.
And he needed that too.
And he definitely needed that.
Needed
That was a big.
I think that pin had about
right
1/4 rotation left in it when it nudged the 4-pin. So now back to Jayson after 2 somewhat disappointing frames here in 7 and 8 for a chance to finish out strong and get a second win. Next up, Andy Rettig for the winner of this match.
Oh.
That's exactly what Jayson did not want.
He liked the shot too, and I think that you'd have to ask him, but I almost think he made a hair of an adjustment off those 10 pins trying to carry.
Like we were just discussing, is it risk reward? Do you leave 10 pins and keep making them? But when you need strikes, you have to do something.
Right, so it could be as subtle as he did something a little bit with his hand. It didn't have to make a big move on the lane, but he definitely tried to do something there to alleviate that 10-pin lead. And
like I mentioned earlier, covering that many boards, the opportunity for a 4-9 to pop up is there often.
And Jayson not able to get anything on the 4-9. Well, that's another 2 open frame match for Jayson. It didn't hurt him the last time he bowled Zarcone. Let's see what happens here.
Well, this has dramatically changed this match, put Mike ahead by 2, and it's all going to come down to carry and fill in frames at this point.
All right.
But he definitely needs to double here to give himself a chance.
So, once again, that's what Mike Zarcone does so well, is keeps the heat on his opponent. And even though Mike had that one bad frame, it hasn't hurt him enough to not, he's in the lead right now, as you mentioned. Big answer from
Good answer to
on
it.
that one.
Huge answer from Jayson Schubbe. That's the single best way to shake off whatever just happened, is to go and pound on those pins, and you can see how that sets things up here for our final couple of rolls on the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard.
Big strike right there. So he set up a situation now where he's forcing Mike to strike on the first ball. So Mike's going to have to get strike 9, or at the very least, to win this match.
So one more for Jayson to post up a final score on what's been a wild, all over the place
And
match.
count very much matters here, because he wants to get all 10
All he
pins
can,
to get to 202, because he wants to make sure that he's forcing Mike to get the most count he can.
Ooh,
And he
messenger.
gets the nice slide over and knock down to the 10 pin.
You know, and Jayson knows that when Mike's not struck, he's left some formations that are 6 counts. And a 6 count, even on if Mike strikes, a 6 count would still make Jayson win. So very wise. You know, Jayson needed all 3 of those, and he needed all that count.
Okay, so 10th frame now for Mike. He needs a strike here on the first ball,
He
right?
needs a strike in 9.
Didn't like it.
Oh.
Likes it anyway.
And
Didn't like something about it.
That evens
Right
things
back,
out,
right
because we
back
had
at you. Right back at you.
Jayson had a Brooklyn early.
As soon as he threw it, you heard it.
Yeah.
He didn't like it. But the results he'll like.
You know, and any bowler, that's not. We'll take it, but that's
Yeah,
not how
that's
you
not-
want to
yeah.
win. It will make him feel better that
Yeah, no question it
Jayson
will.
did get that one for the double in the beginning.
So Mike Zarcone, the ultimate survivor. And those 9 pins will clinch the victory for Mike Zarcone. Not yet?
Well. He needs to make it.
the spare.
If he misses the spare, it will be a tie.
All right, I jumped the gun there a little bit, didn't
Well,
I?
I kind of led you in that direction, but you know, we automatically kind of assume it's going to be a spare. But you know, when you're sparing for a win,
Now he's
There
got
it
it.
is. So Mike Zarcone survives. There's no better word to use, and you see those 2 guys are both a little relieved, or at least Mike is, for a 203 to 202 wild, all over the board. Kind of saw a little bit of everything win for Mike Zarcone. We'll get Jayson's take on what happened there when we return. Mike Zarcone moves on. We'll have our next match coming up. Stick around. Lucky Lanes in Fredonia is the home this month for Beat the Champ. Back right after this. I'll use the word interesting. You may have a different word, and keep it clean, Jayson, after a really all over the place match there.
Yeah, I definitely lost my break point, and it ended up my ball kept carrying down the lane, maybe like another extra foot or so, and you saw it. I left a bunch of corner pins. I tried to make an adjustment, and my adjustment ended up in a 4-9, which was no good. So Mike bowled a good match. He he got the crossover in the 10th, but you know what? I had a crossover in the first too, so it's what it is.
If you were bowling almost any other bowler in Western New York, you might have been able to pull that one out, but you know with Mike Zarcone, even if he has a bad frame, he's always around, right?
Yeah, he's always going to keep it. He's always going to keep it close. He's one of the best bowlers in Western New York right now, and whatever. I got to make my spares. So.
All right. Well, so this time it's Zarcone that gets the rematch win over Jayson. Paul, what is going on here in our first two matches?
I don't know. It was an interesting match, that last one, for sure. It's been fun to watch thus far.
Yes, it has. So not so much fun for Jayson, but the way you're bowling lately, I know we're going to get you back on the show here pretty quick. Next match, Mike Zarcone and Andy Redick, two really good bowlers. Stick around. We return to Fredonia right after this.
I'm here on Beat the Champ with Andy Redick, one of our contenders today in our first show. Nice shirt, Andy. Is this going to be your lucky shirt?
Boy, I hope so. First time using it, so we'll see how it works.
All right, turn around, show us the back of that. This is my handy embroidery work today. Had to get you ready for this. So tell us a little bit about the shot, tell us how you bowled, and tell us about the doubles too.
Bowled really well. The shot's playing pretty easy. If there's some good carry, there's going to be a lot of big scores this week. And the doubles, I'm looking forward to bowling with Mike.
So you've made the regular show, and then we'll see you on the fourth show for the doubles.
Right, with Mike Sarcone.
So chances are we could see you every week of this tournament.
I hope so.
All right, well, good luck to you.
Thanks.
So it's Mike Zarcone and Andy Rettig, a couple of doubles partners, squaring off in our third match of the day here at Fredonia's Lucky Lanes. And Andy Rettig is another one of those guys that we've seen on the show an awful lot, one of the better bowlers in Western New York. And he'll have the challenge now of figuring out how to top Mike Zarcone, who just won his 20th Beat the Champ match. So Andy Redick making his 7th appearance on the show, 6 wins and 4 losses.
And he's left-handed, so he there's been no play on that side of the lane for him. He gets his own shot really to figure out.
As us righties like to say, they have their own side just to themselves.
And we know it's a high-scoring side because he shot 801, and Tony Dolan, who's also left-handed, shot 803. So we know that if you can get lined up, that
potential is there.
The potential there is for big scores,
Absolutely.
right?
Now, how much of that is just because there's not a lot of traffic on that side, or how much of it is there some interesting little characteristic of this place that plays to the lefties?
I don't think it's just so much. I think it's more of they don't get the wear on the pattern as much as a right-hander would. Obviously, there's more righties than lefties, way more. So occasionally it's odd to see like 3 or 4 lefties, even during league play, on the same pair. It's kind of fun to watch that because then they have to deal with what we do usually.
Make a guess for me. Is 8 out of every 10 bowlers a right-hander? So is 20% of the bowlers generally lefty, or is that even a high number?
I think that would be probably a high number.
Yeah.
And once again, Mike has left himself a rather challenging spare here. That's the third time in the last 2 matches we've seen Mike do this to himself.
Yeah.
Now, he made one, he missed one in the last match against Jayson.
You know, where he's playing, it has the potential to jump up high on him.
Get a little wide on that.
So
That was a great try.
He was very close actually on that.
So only one goes down, so it's a 7-pin open frame in the second for Mike Zarcone, but it did not hurt him. The exact same result, a 7-pin open in the last match. We'll see. This one's a lot earlier. We'll see how it shakes out. We'll see whether Andy Redick can sense the chance to put away his doubles partner.
That's right. And on the other hand, the person who loses this match is going to have to stay here all day and wait to bowl his match. And you know that they both really want to keep bowling the entire day.
That's right. So Andy and Mike will team up for our doubles show, which will be 3 weeks from today here at Lucky Lane. So that'll be fun to watch those two guys going at it. Last time we saw Andy Rettig on the show was a couple months ago at Kearns Avenue Bowling Center when he lost to Pete Maduri as part of Pete's 7 matches in a row win streak. And we also mentioned already that Andy had an 800 series in qualifying here.
That looked to me like that got away from him to his left, like
Didn't
that.
have the same roll.
So it came up a little bit lighter, still at the pocket, but covered a lot more boards to get there and lost a lot of energy on its way.
Early look at the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard in this match. He sensed that one sliding out there a little bit,
Always
didn't
helps to talk the ball where you need to.
Right on the edge, but Andy gets the spare. So 2 strikes and a spare in the first 3, and now Mike has to come back from that open frame in number 2.
Right, so Mike finds himself down 25 very early in this match, so he's going to have to start striking.
The ring 10 there that will set up for a spare.
Right, good shot. Same thing we kind of saw out of Jayson Schubbe there with that ring around the 10 pin.
Mike is the 2014 Obenauer Masters champion. Of course, one of the most prominent bowling titles here in Western New York, and that's not going to win Mike a lot of other Obenauers when he misses the single pin spare like that. So that's back-to-back open frames for Mike Zarcone. Has that ever happened ever before?
Yeah, it has. You bowl enough times, you see everything.
Absolutely do.
And he bowls enough. Switch balls.
Oh boy.
Well, he's really struggling right now. These are leaves that we just do not see from him.
Well, this is what happens when you're fishing. You just can't, you're trying to find something that's going to work for you, and he just hasn't located that yet.
So we were looking at a 410 split here.
Yep.
3 straight open frames for Mike Zarcone.
And all bowlers know that feeling. Like he had to change something, had to take a guess with a different ball, and you hope that if anything, you're going to leave a 1-pin spare.
And make it and move on and try something different.
46 years old from Hamburg, New York, is Andy Redick, employed by the Department of Homeland Security, 230 average, regularly bowls in the Saturday travel leagues around Western New York, along with a couple of other leagues. Wanted us to say that his dad couldn't make it here to cheer him on, but he gives his dad a lot of credit, teaching him the game, teaching him how to bowl, how to be a good sport. And I know we've had his dad here, not necessarily here, but at other matches that Andy has been at before. So.
Yeah, Andy normally does have a pretty good cheering section with his family, but being that we're in Fredonia, it might have been a bit of a trip.
He's a Hamburg guy. It's a short little 25-minute ride, depending on what speed you maintain down the thruway.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute. Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
I'm here in the arcade at Lucky Lanes, and I'm here to challenge Mike Malwitz because I'm the guitar hero, not you, Mike. So let's see what I got.
So you can see the sizable lead right now for Andy Rettig, who is just kind of bowling smart and safe, strikes and spares. Nice 7th frame strike for Andy Rettig. 2017 Peter Parisi Award winner at the Obenauer Masters, which is coming up next month, right?
Right.
Always one of the
That's right.
biggest events in Western New York. If you haven't had a chance to go out and actually watch a night of the Obenauer, it could be the championship night, it could be one of the nights leading up to it. It's a thrill if you're a bowling fan in Western New York. You see all the big names,
Absolutely.
all the best bowlers.
Absolutely, it really is. It gets a lot of spectators. It's always a full house for the Obenauer, and everybody who enjoys watching these guys on bowling, on Beat the Champ, can go and pick their pairs and watch them for a couple frames and go to another person they've seen on television and watch them for a couple frames, because they'll all be there.
It's almost an all-star event.
It is.
Isn't it? So Mike finally comes back with a good frame, gets the strike in the 7th.
I'm going to venture to say he has not good ball reaction with what he's doing, and he can't switch to something else at this stage of the game. It's not really going to help him a whole lot.
Right.
And he's only got a potential at this point of 180, and if he were to strike out, and Andy's going to have that probably next frame.
Yeah, a frame or two.
So, again, if you watch this show long enough, you'll see a little bit of everything. And I think to some degree, seeing Mike struggle the way he did today qualifies as things that you don't normally see, and you'll see a little bit of everything. And we have gotten that today. Meanwhile, Andy has bowled very well and just solid on the other side there and keeps knocking pins down. Don't forget, top qualifier every month here on Beat the Champ, and we're headed to Jamestown's Bowling Company for next month. The top qualifier there will win a $500 value brand new television from our friends at Dirt Cheap TV. And qualifying for next month's shows with the Jamestown Bowling Company will begin this weekend. Next weekend, and it'll start Saturday morning at 10 a.m.
April 7th, 10 a.m. Saturday is just one squad that day, and Sunday there's 3 squads, 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. on Sunday the 8th. And then next weekend, 14th and 15th, will also be more qualifiers.
Right. So back-to-back trips to exit 59 off the thruway here at Fredonia, and then Jamestown Bowling Company down Route 60 for next month as well, too. It's a little easier to get to the last time we were at Jamestown, I think it was in December, so you get a little more likelihood of it being an easier ride than it was the last time.
Although the weather's been putting up a fight.
True, but
still,
I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay.
I just want to point out that even though this match is over, Mike didn't become a worse bowler today. This is technology at its finest here. This is picking up the right ball and creating yourself some area, which unfortunately Mike didn't do.
So it's Andy Rettig with the win over Mike Zarcone. Remember, these two guys are going to team up for our doubles match coming up in 3 weeks, so it's not the last that we've seen of Mike Zarcone. We'll talk to Mike and find out what went wrong in this match for the guy who leads Beat the Champ in number of wins. We'll get his post-match reaction and get you ready for next week's show when Paul and Sue and Paul return to the Lucky Lanes in Fredonia. Beat the Champ is back right after this. 238 to 160, the final score as Andy Rettig beats Mike Zarcone. Just for me to say that you had a 160 kind of jolts me a little bit, and you said you don't really know what happened there.
Yeah, I was dumbfounded. I was just trying to play like I was in the qualifying, and it just wasn't there.
You're just trying to pump him up for the doubles match in a couple of weeks.
Hopefully I can do better for him. Yeah. Hopefully.
All right. Well, again, what's fun about this show is we tend to see a little bit of everything, and unfortunately for you, that qualifies as your everything,
Absolutely.
Isn't it? All right. Sue, talk to the guy that took advantage.
Yeah, very solid game that you bowled. But what goes through your head when you see your opponent struggle? I mean, we feel both sides of it as bowlers. I know we're never cheering for our opponent to bowl, to struggle. We know what it feels like. But what's going through your mind?
Yeah, I just tried to focus on what I was doing and just not give him any openings, because he can start striking at any time and never stop. So
I was just lucky to get through today.
Well, that's a very healthy way to look at it. And of course, you got to stay friendly because you got a doubles match coming up, right?
Absolutely. He should go get his rest and get ready for a couple of weeks from now.
Okay, there you got it.
All right, sounds like Coach just gave you your instructions. Paul, why don't you try to make Mike feel a little better?
Help a little bit.
All right, Paul, thank you very much.
All right, and we're certainly not done with Andy. We'll see him on next week's show. We're not done with Mike because we're going to see these two guys team up on our double show and coming up in 3 weeks. So rest up, drink your fluids, and figure out whatever you just did. Don't do that again in 3 weeks. Sue and I will wrap up week number 1 here at what Mike refers to as not so lucky lanes. When we come back, we've had a good first week here. We'll wrap it up when we return. Well, even in our 3rd year here on the show, every once in a while we see things that we have never seen before nor never expected to see, and I think Mike Zarcone bowling in 160 qualifies on that.
I know, it's very difficult to watch, actually, because we've all felt it. But we did talk earlier about watching the righty-lefty thing, and I think that was a perfect example of what can happen when there's a lot of play on one side and then the lefties came forward.
Yeah, so Andy Redick takes advantage, and he's a terrific bowler in himself. He'll be back on next week's show. I had to think that you even writing open frames 3 in a row for Mike Zarcone in a 160, the pen maybe didn't even want to work that way.
I thought I was up there bowling. I didn't know what was going on. But, you know, everyone has their days, I guess.
Yeah, and Mike's a great sport about it. We know we're going to see Mike in a couple of weeks on the double show, and I can almost guarantee you we'll see him next month at Jamestown as well, too. We're off to a good start here. Interesting bowling. That's the best word I can come up with. So you better stick around and join us next week because it may be even more interesting for Janelle and Sue and the entire crew here at WBBZ. Thanks for watching our first week stay in Fredonia at Lucky Lanes. Beat the Champ is back next week.